My personal experience with share schemes would be that they don't work for small companies. I think we've implemented in the past, and in the end, because there's no determination of the value of a private company's shares, it's difficult to equate in an employee's mind what that's worth to him. I think you'll find that the people that go between jobs are usually the entrance into the market and, let's say, the intermediate type skills. The part of the market where we play are the more advanced or experienced consultants, so these would be typically guys with 10 plus years experience. They've been through that process of going between jobs and companies. That said, I think if you provide people with the opportunity to have a career path, so if he starts as a system engineer, and you have the ability of providing him with a clear path of how he's going to get to being a consultant, obviously with pay increments going along. So how do we handle the fact that they then need to up their skills and write exams? And well, they know that it's part of their job, and that for them, or for us to be able to sell these type of solutions which they will be able to work on, they actually need to do this. And as part of your company, you want to make sure that they retain their skills as new products come along, but they don't want to do that without having time off to study, and that means it's non-billable, which means it impacts your cash flow, which has got a roll-on effect. So I think most probably a remuneration structure that provides them the ability to earn more based on their ability is perhaps an answer there.
And the thing about reward strategies and incentive schemes is in a small environment, you need to be thinking compensation philosophy. Because what are you giving them? So that's the employee value proposition that Ian's talking about. What are you giving them that the big guys are not? As a small business, you don't need to be able to hire 100 career people a year or 1,000. You maybe need to hire 10, 5, 3. So find those right people. And it's not about the money.
You don't want to always be throwing money at the problem, because you are a startup and money is not easy to find. And I always say variable pay is not the momentum creator, it's a momentum carrier. People effectiveness is about direction and power. So ensuring that there's a clear line of sight between where an individual is going and where the company is headed. A lot of the time a company evolves, but it fails to carry its people or take its people with it. So ensure that you have all of that, where leaders are able to clearly set out what the strategic direction is of the company, and to ensure that at any period of time they know whether the employees are engaged or not.
The role of the board in the company should to some extent provide a little bit of mentoring, a bit of strategic direction. But if you look at a typical startup in the area that we're in medical devices, it tends to be a venture capital type environment. And in South Africa, and I hope there are no venture capitalists here, it's a very, I think, naive industry. I also recently did some career coaching, which I would highly recommend for anybody, a 6-month session with a career coach, and it was brilliant. I really enjoyed every session of that. And we have tried to do that for people in our organizations, to find a mentor and to assign them to that mentor for career development. But I think particularly in a small environment, that is lacking. There's not enough time and not enough people and not enough depth of expertise to do that. So you generally have to look outside of the organization. In that session of attaching myself to someone who had been there, done that with all the struggles, gave me so much clarity, and I went back the next day with some vision. So I would encourage anyone to find individuals like that who can help you with those things, and find those people for the people in your organization.
If you're going to use a profiling tool, you need to know what the profile is of the person you're looking for. Data is a really important thing that a lot of smaller businesses don't have. So if you're going to use a psychometric test, you need to test the profile, you need to test the person who's already a high performer in that role, so that you've got a picture of what that role requires. Then when you assess people who are coming into your business, make sure their picture looks the same. Higher levels in the organization are not hired from outside. So what Goldman has clocked is that you grow people up. Because nothing fits with your culture better than someone who's so firmly steeped in it and brainwashed by it that they can't behave any other way.
Initially it was a whole bunch of people trying to get something done, and it had a culture of, and a very uniform one. We all tended to be from the same background. It's quite diverse. Plus, adding to that, a more corporate type of feeling. So for me, it's very important to keep connected to everybody in the company, because I think if the person at the top does it, that mentality will perpetuate downward. Personally, I prefer to manage people. One of the most dangerous things you can do in a business, if you're the founder, the credibility of that business stands with you. And often techies who found business, what they say is that, I'll start the business, and when things get going, I'll employ a sales manager and I'll stay in the lab to make sure we've got a new product. It doesn't work. And that's why if you look at the big companies, when a new iPod Nano is launched, it's Steve Jobs that stands up there. You'd think after all these years they'd have, some guy with a big grin to do that job. But the fact is, in the most successful companies in the world, the founder who carries the credibility of the technology stands up there and tells the good news.
Being a manager, you use your technical skill to empower others. So your technical skill shouldn't be for you to apply it in the lab or wherever else. You use it to be able to manage, to coach, to mentor, and to empower your workforce.
Don't do something you're not good at, because it will kill your passion for your business. So the discipline comes in making sure that you surround yourself with people who are good at managing. And that can be irritating, because they're different to you. So it's keeping the discipline and knowing why you brought them alongside you and allowing them to do their job.
We close the session. I want to thank you really, really very much for a lot of insight. Ruud, Tanya, Leanne, Greg, I think it's been wonderful. Please join me in thanking the panel for us. And now, as I said, we have, if you still have burning questions, they're here for a few more minutes, and I think there's still drink and food outside. Thank you very much, guys.